rural America. Watch out for the producers and those that are helping them put this crop in. It's big equipment. It moves slowly. They're watching out for you. You watch out for them. I'm Illinois Extension's Todd Gleason.
RFD Radio Network's DeLoss Yankee connects rural routes for you. DeLoss delivers essential farm and food-related news to our listeners. His witty voice has been heard on the air for more than 2 decades. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
Growing up on a farm prepared me for my career. I try to know a little about a lot of things and let the people I interview be the experts. I've always wanted to be on the radio. I'm just happy to do what I enjoy.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture, we grow best together.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Welcome to RFD Town and Country Partners on a Wednesday. I'm DeLoss Yankee with Rachel Scavuzzo, also at Illinois Farm Bureau. How are you?
Good. It's Regella, though.
What did I say?
Rachel.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Did I?
You did.
Regella Scavuzzo. I don't know. I was so busy thinking I can't remember her title off the top of my head that I messed up your name.
That's okay. It's technically my name.
Should we try it again? Should we rewind the tape and start over? Regella Scavuzzo. I haven't visited with you since the trip to Germany.
No, you have not.
Tell us a little bit about who you took with you, or, why you went to Germany, the kind of group you took, all that.
Yeah, so it was really exciting. We spent a week over in the Bavaria area of Germany, which is the Munich area. And the reason we were there was for direct agricultural marketing. Do you know what that is?
Direct agricultural marketing. No,
I didn't think you might.
Not really. I assume, that could be as much as just selling off the truck.
It could be, and that's one of it.
Okay.
So what we're talking is direct to sales to the consumer. So that might be having a farm store on your farm. That's going to the farmer's market. Online sales directly to the consumer. It's basically where there is very limited of the middle.
Right.
And you are connecting with your consumer. But you could be a value added, or you could be, so you might not be the farmer, but you might be the producer of a product or a crop.
Someone says, well, I sell to the elevator, for example, when we talk about other commodities, but it's going to go somewhere else. So that's not exactly a direct market.
No. That's more the wholesale market.
Yes.
This is more, I'm making my strawberry jam and you buy my strawberry jam.
Okay.
But you don't.
So what did you think over there? Do we have advantages? Do we have disadvantages? What did you find similarities or comparables?
There were surprising comparables and there were obvious differences. And I think that our participants walked away with some really interesting ideas, but also the awareness that some things were things that they still faced. One, I think the most interesting things was their labor kept coming up. And they were saying, oh yeah, we get a lot of our labor from Eastern Europe, from Romania. We just don't have the workers. And I think that really hit home with some of our farmers who are facing the labor barriers in specialty crops. We had an apple orchard there who uses the H2A program to get their farmers in. We had an organic farm that uses their H2A farm. So in their minds, they're like, you have to outsource your labor too. We're facing the same problem because people in our community don't want to do the work.
Surely there's more population density there than what some of the farmers that you took. Certainly they had more opportunities for employment, but still having difficulties with it.
Yeah, people didn't want to do the job. They just didn't want to do the labor.
Well, I can certainly, as I continue to mature, let's say, I don't want to bend over for anything. If my kids are around and I drop something, they're the ones picking it up for me, it's not nice, but I'm not bending over. Let alone all day for some kind of manual labor that's either on your knees or, something that's just a couple inches off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, the slaughterhouse we visited faced it. The apple packing facility we faced it. The dairy we faced it. So you were talking about it as several different places doing several different things, that it was just the physical labor of it was not something that was a desirable job in the community.
And pick your owns are genius because now someone is doing that for you. But you've got enough space where you know, okay, no one's going to walk to that back corner, so, one way or another, that stuff's going to have to be collected or else it's just going to sit there.
Well, and so Pick Your Own is facing an interesting time in our community. So it's a great way to get you on your farm. And agritourism is one of the fastest growing tourism programs in the state. It is what people want. But Pick Your Own comes with a battle with food safety, actually.
Sure.
So if you are selling at wholesale markets, you're selling to farmers markets, and you're packing and selling it, you have to be cognizant of the Pick Your Own barrier. So you have to keep them completely separate because the liability. If you have some random person out picking your berries and then you go pick your berries from there, you face the concern of the food safety, and there's some liability with that. So
wow,
that's a big issue.
It's becoming more of an either or. Both is harder to do.
With some, so the larger ones that wholesale markets are really large, you're seeing them moving away from the Pick Your Own, or you see people heavily embracing that as an agritourism business, and they're going to do more on the farm businesses. And that's not to say you can't still do other pieces with it. So they could still do their value add of adding jams and things, but to sell that raw agricultural product could be a barrier.
Because I could see that as, okay, I'm doing one, and if we added a component, then that's more opportunities for adding some income.
And it's exactly what you want. But also sometimes you face with the Pick Your Own barriers. If everybody comes out and picks, then you have no product to sell at your farmer's market. But if nobody comes, then you have an overage of a product. So when it comes to planning and accommodating for that, so I see some Pick Your Own farms that are saying, sorry, we're actually closed because we don't have enough berries in season right now, or we do these different things. So farmers are picking their own models that are going to work best for them. But with the weather and everything else, a lot of that's going to play into how their business unfolds for the season.
What's an example that comes to mind for you of what a cool and wet spring has meant for some?
Asparagus has arrived.
Okay.
We are a top 10 producer in asparagus. Did you know that?
We are. Where's it coming from?
All sorts of places, actually. Yeah, we are a top 10 producer for asparagus in the state. So you can get it in northern and southern. I think the southern is ready at the moment.
Wow. Well, as one who doesn't consume asparagus, I would not have known. I didn't realize we were such a producer.
We were, which was really funny. So when we were in Germany, Spargel, which is white asparagus, was like their big product in Bavaria, and it actually came into season while we were over there. So we had quite a bit of it over there. So coming back to asparagus now is just entertaining.
Is it virtually the same crop, the same plant, only white?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. I didn't know such a thing existed.
Yeah?
We have white squirrels in Illinois, but I didn't know there was such a thing as white asparagus.
You'd be surprised how many varieties of all sorts of things there are. The things that you just wouldn't expect, like, there's that color and that crop. Like, yeah, did you know this?
Well, I thought for my horticulture judging that there were basically 5 apples.
Oh, yeah? What did you judge horticulture for?
Well, when I was a 4-H kid, long ago, I tried. My sister was so much better than I was at it. But, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, Wine, there were a couple of others in there. I don't know. Jonathan, I had no idea there were hundreds to choose from.
Well, if you took the apple seeds out of your apple that you eat, and you planted it, you would not get the same plant.
Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Why would that be?
Because of cross-pollination. So the only way that you get consistent things like a Johnny apple, like a Jonathan apple or a Honeycrisp is through grafting and breeding. So you actually graft the tree from a previous tree to get the same flavor profile.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
What has there been any challenges necessarily? For example, I've heard Calhoun County peaches may not have the kind of year that we were hoping. Is that a weather thing, or?
So there's twofold that can happen with that. So the first is that the temperature plays into it over the winter. So you either have to hit cold for a certain number of days for a certain length, but you also have to hit warm for a certain number of lengths for a certain number of time. So peaches are really interesting with having to hit the right kind of temperatures for the right length of time, and if you don't hit that, it starts all over. And so you've got that, plus the rain is going to play into the control of your peaches.
Is that specific for one item of produce, or is that?
All of them have different things. It's just like, did you know the color of your oranges has nothing to do if it's ripe or not?
No, I did not.
If it is green on the skin on the outside, does not mean that it is not a good orange. In fact, in rainforest communities, the skin is entirely green. That is all based on wind and climate control.
Huh. So if I'm making my selection amongst the dozens, that doesn't necessarily have to be a criteria at all.
No, and that's actually sometimes a barrier to citrus growers because they have to, in the grocery store, have this protocol, and it has to look like this, and it has to be like this.
Right.
And it might not be the best product, but that's what the whole grocery store is going to sell. But grocery stores face this barrier all the time. You have to give the highest quality product to the grocery store, oftentimes for the lowest amount of money that you make, which is why farms do things like direct marketing, because there's a little more, you're willing to take something maybe that doesn't look as pretty if I can tell you that the quality is actually there, and I'm going to get more money for it.
And it's not like that the retailer, in that case, is going to take the ones that have a little green on them and then turn them in, they're not going to squeeze them or do anything with them. They're just gone.
Yeah.
And they can't give them away either. I mean, certainly there are limitations with that, I would think.
Food banks get a lot of donations, but it is, it's what we call stuck-in. So there's a grading package. So when you're going into the wholesale market, you have to grade all of your crops. So based on size, color, texture, all of those different things go into place, and you package them in a very specific parameter, and they're graded. And so firsts are graded as the highest quality product, and so that's what you're going to sell as your highest quality versus your seconds or your thirds. So a tomato with a bruise or a peeled skin of an orange, that could go to a second, so that might be a processing tomato for jams or a different piece for that, but you're not going to be able to sell it to the market. And at grocery stores, they expect perfect produce.
Oh, of course.
Because the consumer at the grocery store expects perfect produce, but there's a misunderstanding that sometimes that produce isn't a quality, it's just a look. So oranges are the greatest example of that.
Well, as we head toward first weekend of June, is really started getting these festivals as well. A couple come to mind, Strawberry Fest in Elmwood, Rhubarb Fest in Aledo. These things are right around the corner.
I love strawberries.
We got to go. Regella Scavuzzo, she is. Illinois Farm Bureau on RFD, Town and Country Partners.
RFD Radio Network's Jim Taylor connects rural routes for you. You can trust Jim every morning for your overnight markets. He gets up early to help keep farmers on top of their game. Here's a bit about his rural routes.
I have the opportunity to cover something different every day and provide listeners with up-to-date markets, news they need to do their job and be successful, from legislative issues to crop updates and weather, of course.
Be it routes or routes, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
Welcome to Jim Crowley Outdoors here on the RFD Radio Network. These hobbies of mine put a lot of miles on my truck. Illinois Farm Bureau members can save $500 on the purchase of a new Ford vehicle. For more details, go to ilfb.org or contact your local county farm bureau. Okay, so here's a tactic that maybe a lot of you bass guys haven't done before. Maybe you have, but when I'm going around talking, especially for stuff for Hook and Hunt TV, is a soft plastic jerkbait. And there's so many different lures out on the market today that sometimes that soft plastic jerkbait, gets lost in the shuffle or gets put down to the bottom of the bait bin. Well, I learned a trick a couple years ago when I was up on Mille Lacs, filming a show with one of the guys from Rapala. And I'm going to pass this on to all of you guys because this is a time of year now, especially after the fish, whether spawning and then when post-spawn. This is a really, really deadly little trick I'm going to pass on to you here that you can really pull off some extra fish when you need to. I'm going to use a spinning rod again, and I'm probably going to have anywhere from 10 to 20 pound braided line, whatever you feel comfortable with. Spinning rod's usually going to be about at least 6.5 foot in length. And I'm going to take a soft plastic jerkbait, but I'm not going to Texas rig it like everybody is used to doing. It falls a keel weighted usually with a Texas rig hook, and that's fine, and that does work. However, to get a little bit more action out of this bait, And to also allow you to skip it into places a little bit better with the spinning rod, I nose hook the soft plastic jerkbait. And I do that with a number 1 or number 2 octopus style hook. Now, if you don't know what an octopus style hook is, it has a little degree turn in it. And I use a VMC octopus hook. And it's like I said, it's usually a 1-0 or a 2-0. And what an octopus hook is actually, it's actually a live bait hook. It's used in a lot of walleye fishing, but I've used it a lot wacky worming, and I also use it on this soft plastic jerkbait, what I call a nose hook soft plastic jerkbait. And the reason I do that is because that smaller hook like that doesn't catch so much, doesn't get hung up a lot of stuff when you skip it underneath stuff. Now, will it still? Yes, it will. It just won't as much as if you had a bigger hook that you were using in this way. Also, it allows the bait to move really freely as it's sinking. So what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll actually skip the bait up underneath the dock or skip it up underneath some laydowns or to an area, maybe some overhanging brush, and let that bait sink down. With the slightest twitch of your rod tip now, that bait's a lot freer to move back and forth and in a lot more directions with a lot less effort because you have less weight in the middle. The weight is transferred toward the nose of the bait with that hook, and it's going to sink. Become very, very deadly on finicky bass and also post-spawn bass. Try a nose hook soft plastic jerk bait sometime, any brand that you want. You will be surprised how big of a bass you're going to catch.
Jim Crowley Outdoors on RFD, Town & Country Partners.
Farm Week and FarmWeekNow.com journalist Dina Stroish connects rural routes for you. From the Farm Bill to crop insurance to GMO labeling, her expertise is apparent in the stories she reports. Here's a bit about her rural routes.
I get to meet interesting people and share their stories, and I get paid to do it. I cover ag policy and really enjoy keeping the farming community updated on these important issues.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
From midnight snacks to holiday gatherings, food is a part of our culture that brings us together every day. To make sure we all have food on our tables, Illinois farmers are going beyond planting crops and raising animals. We're making sure the wildlife that helps our food grow has homes too. To learn more about conservation efforts, visit ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
Welcome back to RFD Town & Country Partners. I'm DeLoss Yonke. We'll go down to Alton. Stephanie Tate joins us, Tourism Manager, Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau. Stephanie, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Hey, we're doing all right. Tell us about what's coming up here. Lincoln, the Great Communicator. What is that? When is that?
Well, that is a new theatrical performance that's going to premiere in Alton tomorrow night, May 16th, at the Post Commons. The show starts at 6:30. Doors open at 6 p.m. It's free and open to the public. And basically what it is, it's there's a Lincoln impersonator named George Buss and an Illinois folk musician, Chris Valillo, out of Macomb, who have joined their talents to put together a show highlighting Abraham Lincoln's great communication skills. And so the show is going to be Lincoln's own words and kind of highlighted with some folk music from that era.
Now, did you have to find this impersonator, or was it a thing where we have the impersonator and let's work something around that then?
Well, actually, this program is being presented by the Looking for Lincoln and the Abraham Lincoln National Heritage Area in Illinois. So we just, they said, do you want to have this show in Alton? And we said, absolutely, yes. So thanks to the Illinois Arts Council, they are bringing this show to us.
Excellent. So how long will it be running?
The show itself is about 30 minutes, but one of the highlights is that people can take some time and ask questions of Mr. Lincoln at the end. He will be available for questions and answers, and also they can have their photos taken with Mr. Lincoln at the end of the performance.
All right. One show only, or just this weekend?
One show only. Okay. It's a one-time thing. Better be there because you'll miss it if you aren't. It's going to be a wonderful event.
Now, let me ask you this, because this week we talked to folks in Quincy that were having an event that involved running over the bridge. It was a 5K and a 10K and a half marathon that started by running across the bridges. So,
oh my gosh.
So what about for Alton, for anyone that's coming to town for this or any other reason? Is it safe to come? Is it safe to get around, or how is everything right now?
Oh, it absolutely is. Yes, it's very safe. Of course, we're right along the Mississippi River. The river is a little elevated right now. We are in flood, but the river waters are receding, and all the roads in and around Alton are open.
Okay.
You might have to detour a little bit on some spots in downtown, but you can get where you need to go. And actually, this event is taking place up on one of the hills in Alton at the Post Commons, which sits up on the bluffs. So it's pretty accessible to everybody.
Wow. Sounds like some really impressive views then while you're up there.
Oh, my gosh. People should take a moment to look out the windows. The Post Commons used to be a U.S. post office, and it's one of those historic limestone buildings sitting up on a hill, and it has the views of the river and the city that you can't find very often in Alton.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure I say it right. So Great Rivers and Routes or Routes? You say Routes?
Well,
I say
we
routes.
say Routes, but you could go either way with it.
Tell us about
we're Midwesterners, we say Routes.
So the Tourism Bureau, just how much area, how many counties do you cover?
We cover 6 counties. We go all the way up to just south of Springfield in Macoupin and Montgomery counties, and as far south as Madison County, which is just right outside St. Louis.
Gotcha. That's a lot to then promote. Some of it based on the river, and some of it, I'm sure, that's not then.
Well, we are, of course, the Route 66, the Mother Road, and then we are part of the Great River Road and the confluence of America's 3 great rivers, the Mississippi, the Missouri, and the Illinois. So, basically from Springfield south to St. Louis and then back up to Quincy, we cover all of that area. And it's wonderful because we have a lot of different things we can show people. The kitschy Route 66 and the scenic beauty of the Great River Road and the rivers.
Wow. That's a lot of history there. That's easily more than 200 years of history that can be promoted and celebrated down there.
Right, and Abraham Lincoln actually spent time in Alton trying some cases. Of course, he had his last great debate here before the 1858 senatorial race with Stephen Douglas. And, he spent time in Alton, so having this show tomorrow night kind of fits in with our Lincoln heritage down here.
One little known fact, the president enjoyed dining at Fast Eddie's when he was down in Alton, too. I think that's documented somewhere, isn't it?
If Fast Eddie's was around then, I'm sure he would have.
Yeah, I totally made that up. That's a famous cheeseburger place.
I know, but that's okay. It sounds good.
Okay. So Lincoln, the Great Communicator. Again, if you give us the times and the places for it coming up.
That will be at Alton's The Post Commons, 300 Albee Street, Thursday, tomorrow, May 16th, starting at 6:30 p.m., and it is free.
It is free. So come on along and great photo ops. Always great to ask questions to someone who's in Lincoln mode, because he'll be talking to you as if he is the 16th president of the United States.
And this gentleman does not break character. He is totally Lincoln the entire time.
Fantastic. Stephanie, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Stephanie
Thank
Tate.
you. Have a good day.
You too. Tourism manager. Now, the website is riversandroutes.com, the Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau. That'll do it. We'll be back in studio again tomorrow. I'm DeLoss Yankee, RFD, Town and Country Partner.